You're listening to Multiple Offers, a real estate show with competing perspectives. Today we're talking foreclosures, deal of a lifetime or complete waste of time.
Put that coffee down.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
How'd you get the gig? Oh, you know, they were hiring. It was only a 2-week course.
I will sell this house today.
What are you, some kind of real estate agent?
Oh, he's a realtor. There is a difference somehow.
This is Multiple Offers, a real estate show.
All right, coming back.
Yeah.
But if you're a buyer and you're listening to this and you're like, okay, there is a foreclosure out there. If it got to that point, there definitely was some financial distress. It happened. So
Right.
that's how it got there.
Right.
So now it's been put up for sale, and it's the lawyer for the lender who's really in charge. The lender doesn't really have any involvement at that point. The lawyer is taking care of it, just getting as much money back as they can.
Right.
And they're going to hire a realtor to go and market the home. But once any interest comes in, offers, all the rest of it, contracts, everything's handled by the lawyer. It's not really the agent. The agent's just opening the door and well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, the agent is working to market the home, but they're not the negotiator.
But there's a bit of different set of rules. And one thing I want to mention too, and this is one of the big differences between the American side of doing things and the way it's done here, is the bank has their fiduciary duty to actually get market value or top dollar, that, you know, the highest possible dollar for that property. Whereas a lot of times with the American system is they're just trying to reclaim what's the debt on the property. So how can we get those funds back?
Yeah, that's an important differentiation.
Huge differentiation, because they're now all of a sudden, they're actually trying to sell this house, not just let's get out of it.
Yeah, sell it for just recover my losses, and cut ties.
Yeah. So in terms of the process, the property gets listed on the MLS.
Yeah.
Typically. So we as agents, we're touring buyers out there. We see a property. So do you want to kind of go through those steps of what's it look like if you want to go through these proceedings?
Yeah. Okay. So let's say you're a buyer and you got 4 properties that you're interested in. 3 of them are a standard owner selling their home, and one of them is the foreclosure. So we talked about how to do a showing last episode, 43. Yep. So that's sort of the typical process for the other 3. And then for the 4th, the foreclosure, we would tell them a lot of what we're going to talk about in this episode before even engaging and proceeding with the showing, to give them some of the warnings.
Right.
And we will go through those warnings with you here through the show. So we would give them those warnings and say, do you still want to proceed? And then you have to actually get in the door for the showing.
Okay. So scenario 1, it's an owner that let's talk about condo. So say it's owner's living there. Maybe there's an assessment that came up. It's that owner all of a sudden has a special assessment for around $100,000, and they just don't have that money, and maybe they only have $50,000 in the property in terms of equity. So they just decide, I can't get these funds. I can't sell the property because now it's just this distressed sale showing that there's major work coming to the building.
Right. Yeah. Another buyer has a tough time buying it, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got this person they're still living in the house. They have a right to be there. And it's an ugly situation. They don't want to go through this. So they could be pushing back even to get into the door. So depending on how that relationship is. So you get in the door, you get to go see the property. Usually they're not in good shape either, just similarly to the houses.
It's often the case. I mean, the scenario you're talking about where they can't afford a levy, sometimes those people, it's just a tough situation, but you know, they are the person who doesn't have a lot of extra funds or opportunity to lend money. So they're probably living paycheck to paycheck,
and
which
it's a horrible situation.
Is a large proportion of the population. So that's not to vilify anybody,
No.
but it's just that they're having a tough time keeping things up. So, and they're going to be really down. They're going to be depressed, right? They're going to be really embarrassed.
You don't want to be in this position.
Yeah. So going to their home is not going to be a very warm and inviting environment.
So you go through, you find the property, you go, hey, Matt and Jer, I actually kind of like the one, the one that's the foreclosure. I like the layout. I don't mind that there's some work coming up because it's going to be fixed and it'll be a good building. So what do I do? What do I do now?
Yeah. So the offer process is the same offer paperwork we use for all other listings, but then there's a whole separate attachment called the Schedule A. And I don't want to dissect that. That's a very complicated legal document.
Right.
But it is an extra part of the contract. And you have to sign all of those things and you send it to the agent, who then essentially just sends it to the lawyer for the lender.
Right. So you still get to go through all your due diligence. So you'll make sure that you can get financing on the property. You'll do a home inspection.
Yeah, you have the option
potentially.
to put all of those things in your offer to say I'd like this to be subject to
Yep.
financing approval, reviewing strata documents, doing an inspection, checking everything out.
So I guess just to rewind a little bit, you write an offer on the property. So potentially you have those conditions. You're negotiating technically with the bank, would you say?
With the lawyer.
With the lawyer?
The bank really is unaware.
Okay. So the lawyer has some information on what the property's worth. They'll have, so they have that knowledge. So they'll kind of negotiate a little bit, see what happens. So say you get the offer accepted. You go through typical offer process of going through your satisfying your conditions. So everything's checked out and you go, okay, yeah, that looks good. I'm ready to.
So buyer is removing their conditions.
I'm removing my condition. But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
There's the seller condition.
That's right.
So the bank's condition, the lawyer's condition, and it's referencing the Schedule A, saying that the court has to approve this.
Yeah.
This
So
transaction.
all foreclosure proceedings are subject to court approval.
Right.
There's no way around that.
Right. So now that you have that, you've got your offer in place. Now you're playing a waiting game.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.